No, get down. And that is another wild slice. Fantastic. So I would imagine we've all hit that shot, that wild slice, and just like one of my lessons Scott the other day, it was plaguing his game. And there was one real reason that was causing him to get this slice all the time, and that was the fear of the slice. So I would imagine, and I've heard it quite a lot in lessons in the past, when we have the slice and it starts to come out every time, you're reluctantly pulling the driver out of the bag, number one, but then that fear almost feels that it turns us a little bit wooden. We think, if we don't make a full swing, if I make a short swing, restrict any movement of my body, restrict any movement, more importantly, in my hands, and I just let my arms swing back into in a smaller arc, the chances are I can't mess it up as badly. Now hit that like button if that has been you before, because I guarantee there's people watching this video now who do exactly this every time they go out and play. And what I saw from Scott in his lesson, it was very much that, and I described him as the wooden man, and we were joking and kept calling him the wooden man as we were having the first initial part of it. And what we saw early on was that was the swing pretty much, and he's a good golfer, Scott. You know, he can play, and he's athletic, he's got the great abilities to make a good long golf swing and get some real distance on the golf ball. But because that fear was compounding him that the driver was just going to go right and right, he just came down and everything had been squashed down. And like I say, the most important part of it was the wrists. For Scott, he was very wooden throughout his wrists. He didn't let anything happen. His torso turned ever so slightly, but it was very small, and as he came through, his wrists were wooden, and he followed through like this and just cut everything off. Now the problem with that is what he was doing with the club face. There wasn't any flow to it, there wasn't any release to it. So what you see here, when Scott was making his swing, and like I say, I bet there's people doing this at home, when you get this sort of, I'm not going to swing it full and I'm going to restrict all my movements mentality, you're not letting the club actually open and close to the target, you're not letting it stay square to the arc. What you start to do with the club face is that it gets, on the way back it opens out, but then on the way through, the reluctancy to swing through, you start to hold it. The lead arm just starts not to turn over, so we see the back of my hand looking at the target as I'm coming through, and then the face carries on looking that way, so we never actually let the face turn over. Obviously we're reducing that amount of open and closure in the club face, but also we're reducing the speed that we can impart on there, because our wrists are a key part to actually creating some club head speed. They not only influence the squareness of the club face, but they control the leverage and the hinge we get to get the club head speed up. I did one simple thing with Scott, and I'll just exaggerate it here for you. You're going to take a T-peg and you're going to put it in the bottom of your grip, which I'll do in a moment, but like I say, just a bit of an exaggeration so we can all see it. Take my small alignment cane and I'm going to get it poking out of the butt of my club like this. Then from here, what I was seeing from Scott when we get the wooden swing, what we would see is that as he worked back, the butt still now was pointing into my torso, or the T-peg was here. Then as I came through, it was looking a little bit out to the right, but like I say, the face was held open here. And then on the way through, it looked a little bit back behind me. At no point of Scott's swing did he let the butt start to look at the ground like so. Then on the way through, did he unload it? And then on the way into the follow through, did he let the butt start to look at the ground again? And the thing I talked to Scott about when we were doing this is I said, if I were to just show you here, and you can see the club face a little bit easier, if you take it on the way back, we can now see the face has changed and it's nice and square. When I load my wrists back down and unload them into impact, we can see it's square. And if I get through here, the face is now pointing off into the fields in this direction. With Scott, like I say, the whole time, the face was looking right of the target, all because the wrists had gone wooden and he'd gone restrictive, so he got this motion, as opposed to, like I say, when we got this feeling of the wrists. And this is the drill I want you to take away from the lesson today, guys. You're going to put a T-peg in the butt of the club here so we can see it poking out. Then on the way back, what I had Scott do was get the feeling that as he was making the backswing, I wanted him to get the butt of the club now to look at the ground, so we see it here. He went a little bit further and I said, can you point it in the mirror behind us that we have at the range? So instead of into his torso and short and wooden, we had to the ground, to the mirror. And then on the way down, I said, could you do the same for me? I want you to get it to point back into your butt, the stomach on the way down, and then on the way through, can you get it to point into the floor for me? And then in the follow through, can you get it to look at your target? So we started to have some small swings without the golf ball and started to see that these wrists were starting to work. And straight away he was, oh, I feel so loose, I feel so free, I feel like a burden's been lifted off my chest here. I can actually let the club start to do the work, and I can really feel where the club head is, as where before I just felt wooden and restricted. So just by feeling that the butt goes to the ground, then behind, back to your torso, to the ground, and then to target, it was really allowing that face to actually get some fluency and get some freedom and start to square it up. So once we went through that, like I say, we put a little T-peg into Scott's grip here, like so. So even if you're playing, there's no, it's okay to have one in there. You can then peg your ball up, and your only thought is about where the butt is going. Don't worry too much about the club face. Think butt to the ground, butt behind you, butt to the ground, butt to target, and we should see that we start to get rid of this slice. So let's give it a go. Like I say, I'm thinking more of, for me, it's butt to the ground here. Butt to the ground is what I'm really concentrating on, which is allowing me to get free and let the face turn over. And we take that everywhere, every single time. Couldn't even get my words out then, it's that good. That is bombed. Whoa. So a real simple slice fix there for us. If you are the person who is controlled by fear and you get contorted and don't let your swing actually start to take shape, think about this drill. Put a little T-peg in, see that you're starting to get some freedom and letting the club flow. You're going to take it to the ground, to the mirror behind you, back into your torso, to the ground, and then point it at the target. And we should see that you're starting to let the club flow and get that good control of the club face. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson this week. If you have, do remember to hit the subscribe button down below so your golf gets better and you're getting a free lesson every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.